Right. Hi, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Thank you for joining our program, How Mentorship Accelerates Entrepreneurship. I'm so excited to be here today with a wonderful panel of our mentors and mentees. But before I get started, I wanted to thank some of our sponsors, Frost Accounting, Simmons Bank, Wright Lindsay Jennings, the Little Rock Regional Chamber, and Arkansas Center for Data Sciences. Thank you so much for the support of our programs and other things here at the Venture Center. A quick little announcement, we've got 3 upcoming programs that I wanted to tell you all about. On June 4th, we've got another program as part of our VC Health Mental Health Series, How to Deal with Failure. Again, that's June 4th from 12 to 1 p.m. On June 9th, we have our FIS Accelerator Kickoff. That'll be at 11 a.m. Central. And then on June 11th, we've got a Lift the Rock with the Root Cafe and Me and McGee Market. So I am Annelise Armstrong. I am a project manager here at the Venture Center, and I oversee our mentorship panel, which is why you don't see Ashley today. So I'm really excited to be here. And at this time, I'd like for our panelists to go ahead and introduce themselves. So John, I'll start with you.
All right. Thank you, Annalise. I'm John Harrison. I am the Chief Strategy Officer for the communications consulting company, Orakia.
Amy?
Yes, hi, I'm Amy San Pedro. I'm here at the Venture Center. I'm the Venture Center's Chief Strategy Officer. Glad to be here.
Abby?
I'll go. Yeah, I'm Abby Sims. I'm the founder and president of iDestiny. We're a software consulting company just outside of Little Rock and Bryant.
Tracy. Tracy's one of our mentees. So Tracy?
Hello, I'm Tracy. I'm a business consultant for Core 323 Efficiency Management.
Angela?
Hi, I'm Angela McGee, owner and cosmetic chemist for Definitive Formulations in Conway, Arkansas, where we make custom hair and skincare products for brands.
And Nicole.
I'm Nicole Winstead, and I am the owner of Wolfcat Pet Treats. It is a lifestyle brand for both pet and parent.
Well, thank you all for being here with us today. I'm really excited to dive in on mentorship. And so when we talk about mentorship, we're going to talk about why it's important, its expectations, its do's and don'ts, benefits, and then how to go about finding or becoming a mentor, and then everything in between. But as we get started, I think it's important that we go ahead and define what mentorship is. So mentorship is the influence, the guidance, or direction given by a mentor who is a trusted counselor or guide. And that leads me into my very first question. And John, I'll start with you. What does it mean to be a mentor?
Okay, thanks, Annalise. To me, mentoring is a way to help others by drawing from our own knowledge and experiences. And it's helping people the same way that others have helped me over the years. Some of the relationships can be short-term or long-term. It really depends on what the individual needs. And, as I reflect on it, I think it's important for all of us to realize that we've all been mentors or mentees at various stages in our lives and our careers. And as a result, each of us can provide a wide variety of insights that can help somebody else.
Great. Mimi, I'm going to pass it over to you. What does it mean to be a mentor?
Well, I am with John. I have been lucky in my 30-something years of being a professional to have several mentors that I started with back in my early 20s when I graduated, and still my mentors today. I would like, being a mentor, I would like to give back. Like John, it's important for us to pay it forward. To listen, to be a good listener, to provide some advice and insight, and connect people to some professionals and some resources that they need to move forward in their business. So being a mentor is something very important to me. I have been mentored. I'm still being mentored. And I still don't know what to do with, when I grow up. But I think it's important to be to give back. And it's been very important in my professional life and my success to have a mentor, and now being a mentor to others.
Thank you. And I think it's so important how you said that we really never stop being mentored. Abby, I'm going to pass it over to you. What does it mean to be a mentor?
I'll echo John and Mimi, but to add to that, as a mentor, it's not so much being able to tell somebody exactly how to execute, but we're there to help offer ideas and encouragement more so. People that are seeking mentorship, you have great ideas. You kind of have a gut about what you probably should do, and you need somebody that can be a safe, trusted resource to seek, confidence and growth, and to be sure that the next steps you take. So it's not always telling somebody what they should do, but confirming someone.
Well, Mimi, I want to ask you, why do you think it's important that entrepreneurs seek mentorship?
There's a number of reasons why, entrepreneurs need to seek a mentor. One of them is it's kind of lonely, being an entrepreneur and not having, the people around you to ask the questions that they need to ask when it comes to, what they need to do when it comes to business ideas and business questions, or, just how do you go about some things that only an entrepreneur can experience. And it's important that the entrepreneurs seek mentors, or, it's hard to say just mentors, because sometimes it's like, it's really, you're really asking for people for advice. And then what happens is they become a mentor to you. As you open up, as you start trusting this person, asking them for advice, just giving them some thoughts about how your day has gone, what the challenges are, celebrate the successes. All of a sudden, that person that you have trusted and you have been sharing your thoughts and feelings and some of the things that you're going through, and having the connection and asking, do you know this person, or do you know how I can connect with this person? And maybe that person that you're talking to don't know specifically how to connect to that person, but can look at their whole network and see if there's a way that you can connect them. But yeah, I think it's important because entrepreneurs need someone to talk to about all kinds of challenges, successes, that they can share with somebody they trust, and they know that person have their best excuse me. Anyway, so I think it's important for entrepreneurs to at least seek out somebody that they can seek advice and somebody that they can trust with their feelings and thoughts.
I think networking is key for so many entrepreneurs. John, what about you? Why do you think it's important that entrepreneurs seek mentorship?
Well, Abby and Mimi have both said, hit the nail on the head. I kind of look at it this way. All of us have more questions than we have answers. And mentors can help provide objective opinions that can lead you to various answers. And as entrepreneurs, everyone I've talked to is trying to make the best decisions they possibly can. And so they're seeking input. And as Abby said, in many cases, their gut tells them what they want to do, but they want to have a gut check. And for that reason, I also suggest, there's no harm in having multiple mentors, even for the same question. It's kind of like getting a second opinion from a doctor. Just go out there and look for the inputs that can help guide you to what you believe is best for you and your business.
Very well said. Abby, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think these are all great points, and I just think entrepreneurs, they have to seek mentorship because a lot of times we're too close to our work. We're way too close to the problems. Maybe we attach ourselves to issues that are not as important as we make them out to be. So you need somebody to help you get it off your chest, because maybe you have that conversation and you decide it's not even a thing you want, maybe it's not important. It's not where you need to focus. So it's just so valuable to have somebody to talk to, that again, that the mentor is not going to tell you what to do or tell you exactly how to get there, but just having somebody to help see the things you can't see.
Thank you, Abby. Okay, Tracy, Angela, Nicole, I'm coming for y'all. Let's start with Tracy. Tracy, at what point of being an entrepreneur did you decide to seek mentorship? And, maybe it is outside of the Venture Center.
Well, as an entrepreneur, I'm always looking for mentors, whether I'm doing good or I'm doing bad. Everyone has weaknesses, and you need somebody to help you, fill in that pie. You have your strengths, but there's things that you don't excel at, and you have to accept that. And when you accept that, then you'll be able to start asking for help. And I feel like that's when you really succeed. There's also times when your industry changes, and you need better insights on how to tackle these changes. And then you have moments like COVID where you have to change your whole strategy. And when you change your whole strategy, like they say, you need confirmation that you're making the right choices.
Nicole, what about you?
I think I'm with Tracy on that. I think looking for a mentor is constant. It's every day. It's a day to day. From having a friend who is in the industry to a friend who may be in another industry that can just give you a tidbit here and there. I've been lucky. So me seeking mentorship has kind of just been all around, through talking with Mimi to having casual conversation over coffee with a friend. I think mentorship is just, it's a constant. It's always.
Angela, at what point did you decide to seek mentorship as an entrepreneur?
Okay. Well, I'm going to add in a little self-disclosure. I would say way too late. So for me, there are probably some entrepreneurs out here who had the thought process that I did at the beginning. I'm a chemist and I make products, so I'm manufacturing. And so that's not common for the area. So I was caught in a paradigm of who does what I do. And I thought a mentor had to be someone who did what you do so they can tell you how to do what you do. So it took me a while to get my mind wrapped around, hey, a mentor, that's not really what mentorship is all about. So that would be the first thing I would tell an entrepreneur is don't get caught in that mindset that your mentor has to be someone in your field in order to be someone who can mentor you. So the answer is I let too many years go by. But one thing I did discover once I got off of that path, I kind of accidentally found my way to it, is that the mentorship process kind of unfolds itself. I think that Mimi said that sometimes you'll find one mentor and you might think this is going to be your mentor, and they have a connection that's a better fit for you. And I find that the mentors I've had have been great connectors. And sometimes I end up with them and sometimes I end up with other people, but they create that network of help that you never knew was out there. So just don't get caught in the paradigm of a certain way the mentorship relationship needs to work or what you think it can bring.
I think that goes back to what Mimi said initially about, networking and having those connections. And that leads me to kind of a follow-up question. Nicole, what were you looking for in your mentor relationship?
I think I was looking for someone that I could connect with on not just a financial or a business level, but also a personal level. I think that's one of the biggest keys, is that you have to have a good connection with your mentor besides just business. You have to be able to talk to them. You have to be able to kind of open up to them and do that disclosure of, I'm having a really crappy home life, or this is not working, or I'm needing this, and you need to be able to have that confidence. So I think it's a whole well-rounded mentor, somebody who can personally sit with you, someone who can give you the advice and the roadmaps. And just like Angela said, if they feel that they're not a good fit for you, that they're willing to be able to pass you on to somebody or link you with somebody that can help you. So open and personable and just able to give you that advice when needed.
Tracy, what about you? What were you looking for?
I was looking for somebody that can, like I said before, fill in those weaknesses that I have. One weakness that I do have is marketing. So I know how to do the work, but as far as marketing, I'm just not good at it, and I let people know that all the time. But when I figured out that I'm bad at marketing, I was able to know those weaknesses and find the appropriate people to help me and guide me to success.
Angela, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Just echo what Tracy said, looking for someone who kind of fills in the gap, and also what Nicole said, someone who's open to, not judging you on the fact that, hey, I've been in business X number of years and you're not, sometimes you get that from people. You should be further along than where you are. And that's a sign that's not the right mentor connection for you, because everybody, has their own journey. So someone who understands your journey or is willing to learn it and then give you their vantage point. I was also looking for someone who just, like they said, I think John said it, the objective opinion, right? To just listen to what I have going and then say, hey, sometimes you're going in the complete wrong direction, but if you're by yourself, it feels right to you, your gut's telling you you're right, and no one's stopping you and saying, hey, this is the total wrong thing to do. So those are some of the things that I think, should be considerations as well.
All very, very good points. Okay, so let's talk about expectations. John, talk me through the expectations that you have for a mentee.
Okay, the biggest thing that I see as the success criteria is coming in with a clear idea of what you need advice or help with. I've had sessions where someone's come in with a very clear question, and it was very straightforward to bounce ideas around and give them, the information that they were looking for. I've had others where it was very vague and somebody just wanted to demo a product just to see if demoing it was, if they were doing a good job at that. But, first and foremost is be very clear about what you're asking for so you, the mentee, can get the most value out of the session. And then the second thing that I would say is come in with the expectation that the mentor is going to tell you what they think you need to hear, not necessarily what you want to hear. Okay, so you're asking for advice, and just as Angela was talking about, if they see you going down a path that's not the optimal, then that's fair game to say, wait a minute, have you really thought about and see if it is appropriate to change direction.
Mimi, what are some expectations you have?
I have a couple. So one of them is, reach out and be open. Don't wait for, first of all, you're going to have to find a mentor. So when you find that person, be open, ask them a lot of questions, make sure that you understand, who that mentor is and what their experiences are, and even their personality, because you have to have a good match. Not only, when it comes to experience and skill level and connection, but also like Nicole says, it's a relationship. So you have to make sure that is, first of all, be open and ask your mentor a lot of questions about, what you need to know from them. I think the second thing is you have to be proactive. The mentor can't chase you around, but the mentor, if they care about your success, will also reach out to you. But when it comes to a relationship, friendships, or anything like that, there's always a need to make sure that you're always working on that relationship. it's a responsibility, not just the mentee, but the mentor as well. You know, I hear people say, well, it's the mentee's job to reach out to the mentor, but you know, it's a relationship and it takes two people to make a mentorship work. And Tracy and Angela and Nicole and I, we have had, you know, multiple conversations about a number of things. I feel like, you know, I think they are all as well. They feel like we are in a friendship relationship and a mentor relationship, because I care about their successes and how they're progressing, and they care about, you know, me as a person and wanting to know how I'm doing, not just because I have something to share, but because I'm a person as well. And I think the third thing is, and Tracy knows this and Angela knows this, you know, we when we do our mentorship program or our mentorship meetings, there's always homework to be done. So there's always a list. Tracy's laughing because he's probably behind in his homework. There's always a list of things to do. I mean, it could be just, you know, connecting with someone. It could be looking at something that we have reviewed together. And, you know, it could be something that they have produced, like a pitch or a new website, or, you know, or a connection that they're trying to make. And, you know, and there's always a list of expectations and a homework to be done for the next session. The thing too is, as you're going through what I have done and what I have been very successful for me and still is today, is I put a calendar on I put a notice on my calendar to reach out every month. Or if I have not heard from them, you know, I always reach out and have a set date. For the longest time is the third Thursday of every month for the last 35 years. But, you know, those are the kind of things, but you have to have a regular meeting, session, coffee, lunch, or something with your mentor, because that relationship has to grow.
Wow, Mimi. Lots of wisdom there. Abby, what are some expectations you have, and maybe what does a mentorship session look like with you?
Well, for one, there's definitely not a handbook that we get that we were supposed to follow, right? But you know, I think it's really important to make a light agenda. You know, we don't want to create every session is a little different, so I'm not saying it can't be heavy stuff, but give yourself a light agenda going in so that you don't forget what you want to talk about. And yeah, I want to echo, like, you know, everybody said that, you know, you need to open to feedback, but you know, it's okay to be passionate about your ideas, and you know, you don't have to agree with all the advice that you're given. So, but so a typical session for me, like, I try to keep it feeling kind of easy and informal. It is just a conversation. It's a relationship. I really enjoy trying to connect personally with the person before we talk about business. I think that's it makes everybody relax a little bit. You know, I know when I was first looking for a mentor, even in my career, I was very nervous about that. You know, you know, you can tend to put these people on a pedestal and you forget that they're just human beings like you. And most people who are looking to be mentors have a lot of grace, and they're willing to take you where you are. They know, you know, you're trying to be somewhere you're not today, and, you know, they were there too. So I would say, just relax. Don't be too nervous about it. But, you know, after we sort of break the ice and talk about something personal, then, you know, I'll try to ask about, you know, if they have an agenda, you know, what do they want to talk about? And just kind of run through those things, you know, and ask questions along the way about what they think they should do, or whether what they've done to validate that idea, or if they faced a similar situation in the past. You know, it's really just asking questions and trying to get the entrepreneur to talk more about where they think they should go. And then, you know, when invited, you know, there'll be times where I can draw on my own experiences and tell a story. It's not necessarily prescribing what they should do, but hopefully you'll find some things that can be relevant and provide enough insight that they can make their own decisions. Again, I don't want to tell people what to do. That's kind of them.
Sorry. John, what does a mentorship session look like with John?
Kind of like what Abby was saying, no two have ever looked the same. But after breaking the ice, then it's getting clarity about what they're looking for. What do you want to get out of today's conversation? And then through the discussion, figuring out if I have any tidbits that I can pass along, or as some of the other folks have said, maybe it's a relationship that I have with somebody else that I can connect them to. So it's, but it is important. There's no two that's alike. And I really like the way Abby put it. None of us have a handbook on how to run a session or attend a session. So we're all kind of figuring it out together as we go.
Very good. Well, I had a question come in through the chat for the three of you. And it says, as an entrepreneur, sometimes I don't know what I need. How do I know what to ask for? Mimi, you want to start?
Yeah, that's a good question. Sometimes it's just a conversation about, where they've been and where they want to go. And through that conversation and being a good listener, I think through that conversation, they pretty much will, come up with, with a question or a need for advice of something that they've been thinking about. So I think a good open conversation about what's happening, what's going on, where have they been, what's their vision of their future, what's going on today. I think that entrepreneur will probably come up with that question, that or even just a conversation about what they want to talk about at that point in time.
Abby?
Yeah, that is difficult because you may, like Mimi said, you may not know exactly what to ask, but if you're seeking time to sit with a mentor, there's surely some things you want to go over. Like, it may not be that you need exact help answering the question. It may just be that you need to validate your story and feel like, am I doing the right things? That's a very simple question to sort of in any session ask. But yeah, I think you're going to have that through conversation. I would say though, that if you feel like everything is going honky-dory and, mentor time is pretty valuable. Not that we don't want to meet and talk to you, but, if things are going great and we could skip this month, maybe that's just what you do once in a while. But most of the time you're going to need help with something.
John?
Yeah, excellent points, Abby and Mimi. With everyone I've talked to, if they don't have the questions in their mind, there's some sense of discomfort, something that's making them feel a little uneasy. And it's fair to just start probing at that. And sooner or later, the problem will either identify itself, it'll unveil itself, or you'll figure out that particular sense of discomfort was really nothing to worry about, so it's again, without a handbook, there's just there's no direct line to help somebody. The entrepreneurs, and I've seen the ones even on this call nodding their heads of, there's that sense of angst that you can always explore.
Okay, Tracy, Angela, and Nicole, I'm coming for y'all. Let's see.
Well, could I, Annelise, could I weigh in on what the question, that question that the person just posed? I would suggest, as from the entrepreneur side, I've had that situation too. You don't know what question to ask. And it's not that you haven't prepared, but you don't know what you're missing. So you don't know what to ask. That's the basis of what they're saying. So generally, I would suggest that you look at the category that it's in. So perhaps your revenue isn't where it needs to be or where you would like for it to be. Then I would say, since you know the general category, now where's the problem? That's kind of a broad question. What I've done in the past is to take my financials. First of all, you get a mentor that is strong in financials, and you turn the financials over and say, can you look at them? Tell me, what do you think that, what do you see here? So if that's their area of strength, they're looking at the same numbers you're looking at, but they're looking at it in a different way. So for example, they might not even know my industry, but then they can say, why is there so much spending in this category? And you can have a dialogue about it, and they can help you find things. So I would say, whatever area if you know the general area, disclose as much business information as you can to the mentor that has that as a strength, and ask them to tell you something they see as an opportunity. So now you formed a question. So would the mentor say that's a fair way to do that?
I would.
I would too.
Nicole and Tracy, do you have anything you want to add?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
I feel like he answered everything.
Yeah.
Let's see. Another question that's come in through the chat is for the mentors, and then I promise we'll get back to the mentees. But for the mentors, what can mentees do to make the mentorship relationship feel rewarding to the mentor?
For me, just being able to help provides that sense of reward. I've been helped in the past, and so this is my way to help pay those people back by helping somebody else.
To me, it's about keeping the relationship going and actually doing the work. We got to do the work. You are reaching out to a mentor, to me, because you need advice or you need somebody to listen to some of your issues. And we together come up with a list of things that, the mentee can consider, or a list of things that the mentor has to do, like connect them. But I think an ongoing a mentorship program, and it's not a program, a relationship, is meaningful to me, because it's not just a one-time session or a two-time session. It's more of a ongoing session. And if we can, create that ongoing relation, that means a lot to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's, I don't do this necessarily to feel great about myself. I know that it's important to give back, especially as a woman. I want to be present, and I want to show other, women of all ages that they can lead a business as well. So I feel compelled to do this, and it has nothing to do with looking for a reward. The services, the reward. So, but I agree with Mimi. Like, if we come up with stuff that tasks that need to be done, we need to work on those, right? We can't come to the same meeting and have the same meeting each month. That the mentee doing the follow up also, does help the relationship be more rewarding.
Tracy, when you look back at the mentors that you've had, or maybe you currently have, with regards to your business, how have you benefited from mentorship?
I benefited from several paths. One was marketing. Revamping how I market to my customers, revamping my website, revamping my logo, and just getting started from moving to a more digital landscape during COVID. Because beforehand, I would usually meet clients through, in person. But after COVID, I had to completely change and go completely digital, completely online. So I had to do that. I also have gotten guidance between for accounting software that I'm working on. I'm not gonna say too much, but I have got guidance from Scott Jones here, and he pretty much gave me advice on making sure that my idea is needed and to actually test it before I actually go further on the process. And so that's several things that I've learned from mentors recently.
Very good. Nicole, what about you?
I think through mentorship, just in general, I've gotten the good hard truth of conversation. I have a tendency sometimes as an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, to float really high. So having somebody to tether me and to say, okay, is this really in the direction that you want to go? So I think having those hard conversations and having somebody to not just agree with you, but to actually hold your feet to the fire and say, is this plausible? Is this going to be a feasible situation? So having those types of honest conversations in relationship, I think, has been the greatest gift through mentorship for me.
Wonderful. Angela?
I think that kind of some of the, when you pull back the veil of entrepreneurship, people, well, when people see it and they think about businesses, they think every business is all laid out well and everybody's got everything organized. But the truth of the matter is you can hide a lot of things. You know, the things you don't like to do, you can skip doing. Like in my case, I don't like the financials. So I got a mentor and they said, well, let's take a look at the financials. I was like, I don't really keep up with. So there was that level of accountability that came in to say, hey, listen, you know, if you want to grow, you know, because we talked about, these are my goals. And they're like, you do recognize that without doing some of these things, you know, I know you don't like them, but without doing them, you're going to hinder your growth, right? So that held me accountable. And they said, well, you know, why don't you like to do that? Well, I don't really know some of the things I need to do. So then there was a teachable moment, and then there was accountability. And so I found that over time in different areas, I've had, you know, like I said, get the mentors that are, like Tracy said, strong in your weak areas. They can take a look at it and figure out what you're not even looking at. So that you have, because that's sometimes where some of the questions come from, is you don't even have the data in front of you because you haven't been monitoring and tracking your metrics. So you don't know what to ask because you don't know what you're missing. So accountability and some help getting some systems and things in place that, you know, needed to be in place to help me grow.
I think teachable moments are always key and truly help us grow. I want to remind our audience that if you want to ask our panel a question, feel free to raise your hand, drop it in the chat, or I believe there's a Q&A button at the bottom. We'd love to hear from you. I've got another question back to our mentors. And Mimi, I'll start with you. Is a paid advisor, maybe an attorney or a part-time accountant, are they considered a mentor?
No. I mean, unless that person that you're paid CFO or the service person is actually not charging you outside his set services. He or she is actually meeting with you outside his company time and not charging you because if you're paying them, that's really not considered a mentor.
John and Abby.
That's a consultant. That's a paid
consultant.
consultant. Yeah.
Exactly.
A paid consultant, that is.
Yes.
For our mentees, what has been the greatest barrier to seeking out mentorship or growing a mentor relationship? Nicole, you want to take that one?
I think probably the biggest hurdle is time. You have to find a mentor that has the time. You have to find a mentor that is willing to do, just like Mimi said, schedule. Put you on their schedule on a regular basis. It doesn't have to be every day, every hour, but just scheduling that Thursday out of the month just to check in. How are things going? Do we have questions? Do we need to meet? So I think time is the biggest thing, is to find a mentor that has the ability to give up some time out of their busy schedule.
Tracy?
One of the biggest hurdles, and we talked about it a lot before, is just trying to get that personal relationship. Because if you don't really have a strong relationship, then people are going to hide things from that person. And if you hide things from your mentor, then can they really help you? If they don't really get all the information and all the data that they need to look at to tell you that you're doing this wrong or you're doing this wrong, then it'll just be, just going to a brick wall. If you two don't reach no personal relationship where you can just talk, where it's not always just about business. You can really ask each other, how are you doing? How's your family? That type of relationship.
Angela?
I echo both what Nicole said. It does take time, and there's a time commitment on both sides. And then also specifically what Tracy said, not disclosing or not feeling comfortable that you can disclose without judgment with a mentor is difficult. So if you've overcome those things, I think you're 90% of the way there.
Well, I've got a question for all of you. What is the best piece of advice you've received from a mentor? Let's start with Abby.
This one we weren't prepared for. That's really hard because it is definitely depends on where I was in life. But I can think of an event actually probably about 2 years ago where my mentor was one of the people leading the event, and I used to work for her, and I had moved on and had my own company, and I never really felt anyway. I always felt a bit of an imposter, right? Just that I used to do kind of what I do now under her tutelage, and now I'm off doing this all on my own. And I just remember making a joke when at the event where she turned to me and said, Abby, be proud of what you feel. Don't be diminutive, but what you're doing has a lot of value, and I'm proud of you. And that was from there on was like, I still think about that on occasion that, we're all imposters. We should definitely don't put it on display. Be proud of your accomplishments, right?
John?
Well, very similar to Abby, slight variation on the theme, and that is, encouraging me to take on roles where I felt uncomfortable because it was stretching beyond what I felt I was comfortable knowing and capable of doing, and then looking back and finding out that they were right.
Angela?
I think stopping and evaluating your wins. When you are an entrepreneur, you can very easily get caught in the losses, the days you take an L, and they seem to come, but when you actually take a look back at the year and you look at, let's capture, and you probably shouldn't even wait a year, but look back at what did I accomplish? That actually fuels you going forward. And so that was kind of advice that helps keep me grounded, because you can get a little lost. And once you do that, you'll realize I didn't lose nearly as much as I won, but I'm just, you don't, like Abby said, you can sometimes be a little diminutive on your own accomplishments.
Mimi?
Well, let me see, my answer will be a little different. So one of my lifelong mentors, of course, is my mother, who basically told me that I could do anything and everything and be successful in whatever venture I get into. But I think the best advice that I've had from a mentor is you can't do that. You are not good at that. You are wrong. I think the best advice sometimes is, like Nicole said, just bring me down a bit. And, I've always been criticized about my cup is always half full. And sometimes I have to look at it as half empty. So just the reality check that basically they can say, no, you're not qualified for that, or no, that's the wrong path you're taking. I know you. Again, it's that lifelong relationship for a mentor to know when they can tell you that it is the right thing or it is the very wrong thing. So to me, I think some of the best advice that I have received from my mentor is telling me that I am doing something wrong or going the wrong path.
Tracy?
Picking up on what Mimi said, I completely agree. It's that moment to where there's some times where you feel like you're at the top of the world, you got everything figured out. But when you finally have somebody, because a lot of people, when you're an entrepreneur, they'll just tell you, you're doing a great job, you're doing a great job, you're doing a great job. But you really need somebody that's going to tell you when you're not doing a great job. That's going to actually critique your work and keep you on that path to where you stay humble and you stay in control of any type of changes or any type of deficiencies that you have.
Nicole?
I think probably the best advice that I've been given by a mentor is to walk through the fear. Is to look back on any time that you've been fearful and see that you got through on the other side, and to use that same tenacity. So just to walk through the fear, don't walk away from it, don't avoid it, but just to walk through it.
It's very nice. As we wrap up today's discussion, is there anything that the six of you would like to share with our audience? Any final thoughts?
Kind of like what Angela said, don't wait. Do not wait to get a mentor. Figure out whatever problem that you're having immediately and find somebody that will help you, sit down with you, and get you on the right path.
Yeah, I think
Go
I would
ahead.
encourage people to get, everyone here today knows about the Mentor Center. But, I think one problem people have is they don't know where to go to find a mentor. And, definitely getting involved in places like the Venture Center or maybe your local chamber. Go network where other business leaders may network, even if you don't feel like you fit in. That's the only way you're going to meet people, is to just show up where they might be. And it's not, you don't ask them to marry you on the first date. You ask them for, hey, could we have maybe a virtual coffee, or meet for a real cup of coffee now, since you might be able to do that. But, start small. Just ask for 15 minutes of their time to get to know each other better. And you may date several potential mentors before you find the fit. That's part of it.
Mimi or John, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think, don't let the word mentor get in the way. Seek advice. And then what happens is that word mentor comes out of your mouth before you know it. And everyone needs advice, everyone. And everyone should have somebody to talk to, and somebody that has the ability to move them along and listen and give them not just advice, but connect them with people they need to be connected with. Everyone needs it, and you need it forever. Through your journey in your professional life, you will need it. And I will tell you that probably about 60% of my success is because of having mentors.
Yeah, the last thing I would suggest, Annelise, is, people are very willing to help. The hardest part is asking them to help the first time. But remember, they want you to succeed. Everybody's rooting for you, but you do need to reach out to them to help find the people with the expertise that can help you, just as Angela, Tracy, and Nicole have said.
Thank you all for sharing. And it wouldn't be right if I didn't drop my little spill out, but everyone needs a mentor, as we've all discussed today. So if you're an entrepreneur and you need a mentor, we would love for you to join our mentorship program, or you just want to, share your knowledge and guidance and serve as a mentor. We have a place for you. I think Molly may have dropped my contact information in the chat, so feel free to reach out. I'm here to help, and it sounds like we've got tons of people who can also connect you and get you to where you need to go. So thank you to John, to Mimi, to Abby, to Tracy, and Nicole, and Angela for joining us today. It's been a wonderful discussion about mentorship. And lastly, I just want to thank our sponsors again: Frost Accounting, Simmons Bank, Wright Lindsay Jennings, the Little Rock Regional Chamber, and the Arkansas Center for Data Sciences. Thank you for your continued support. And lastly, we hope to see you June 4th for a community program on failure in mental health. So for now, have a great day, and you've got a few minutes back to your lunchtime. So thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, you guys.
Thank you.